A story about Ulta, how big it is, what it's up to. It is the cover story of the December issue of Bloomberg Businessweek. It's written by Amanda Mull. She is Bloomberg Businessweek senior reporter, and she joins us in New York City. We've been dying to talk to you about this. But it is true, when I think cosmetics and stuff, I think about the explosion of Sephora, but Ulta Beauty, I feel like it's been a quiet sleeper. It's massive.
Yeah, I think especially for people who live in dense urban areas, and especially perhaps New York City, Ulta sort of hides in plain sight. It opened its 1500th U.S. location just a couple of weeks ago. That's more than twice the locations that Sephora has in the U.S. The typical Ulta is 10,000 square feet, which is twice the size of the typical Sephora. And it's been around since 1990. It has sort of like quietly grown over the years. And in the last 5 or 6 years, it's had like a real growth spike. In 2019, right before the pandemic, its annual revenue was $6 billion. And in 2024, it had increased all the way to 11 billion. So it's a booming business, even though you might not notice it every day.
What does it say about how Americans shop for beauty products? Because Sephora, for example, this is actually a case, like a Harvard case study in business school, like the experiential part, the way that they built these stores out. How do Americans shop when it comes to Ulta?
Well, the beauty business is sort of fascinating, especially at this point in the retail landscape, because most other sectors of the consumer economy don't really have like a thriving multi-brand retail scene. Department stores, things like that have really declined in a lot of places, as well as like specialty retailers like electronics stores. But beauty is a really in-person business. It is a tactile, fun thing to go shop for. And you want to be able to smell perfume. You want to be able to try a lipstick on or see if a certain foundation actually matches your skin tone, which makes it a really unique opportunity for companies that want to operate brick and mortar stores. And that has been a real upside for Ulta. And Ulta and Sephora sort of take a separate approaches to beauty, really, and they are like both quite successful. Ulta, carries everything from drugstore products to Chanel perfume and Prada lip and Dior lip gloss and things like that. Sephora really concentrates at the upper end of the spectrum, but the Ulta theory is that women and beauty consumers in general shop across price points. There's very few who only shop at the drugstore or who only shop from high-end brands. So their theory is if you can put that all under one roof and make it really easy for people to go to, when they're out, buying dog food or out shopping for a coat or something like that at a discount store, Ulta is right there, and you can just drive right up, park outside, hop in, get whatever you need.
Tell us about the Ulta Beauty CEO, who's actually been with the company for a while in some different positions.
Yeah. So in January, the longtime CEO, Dave Kimball, stepped down and retired. And Keisha Steelman, the current CEO, took his spot. She has been with Ulta since 2014 in a series of operations roles. Her background is in operations. And she was most recently Chief Operations Officer. And to me, her background is sort of fascinating because, Ulta is a Fortune 500 company, and at the tops of these companies, you usually find people with very similar types of backgrounds. People with elite educations, people who went through certain types of jobs, certain types of, consulting firm work, lawyer work, things like that. Keisha came up through retail from working in stores. Her first job in her career was, in a Target store, and she has worked in stores and then in the corporate governance of stores her entire career. She's from a very small town in Iowa. And she's really, I think, sort of like the Ulta customer. She has a particular insight into how Ulta's customers want to shop. Ulta, something interesting about them, I think, is that they open a lot of rural locations,
Right.
Where you don't get Sephora's, and you may not have like a Target even. So Ulta opens in a lot of places where they try to meet people where they are.
Such cool stuff. 30 seconds here. If you say Sephora, do they give you the evil eye?
A source that I talked to for this story describes Sephora and Ulta as frenemies. And they they carry a lot of the same products.
Yeah.
There's at the high end especially, and I think that there's this sort of silent rivalry between them. But because Sephora concentrates so much on like high-end urban real estate and high-end malls with like affluent customer
Right.
bases,
Right.
and Ulta just takes an opposite look at the market, so they don't overlap that much.